Thank you. Our next speaker is Tabar Concha, who is speaking on behalf of Un Corazon por Fanconi, and Anna is going to talk to us about connecting families in Latin America through communication technologies. And again, I'd encourage everyone to consider asking questions through the app if you would rather not come up to the microphone.
Thank you to the organizers for inviting me to present this collaboratory work. Living with a rare disease like Fanconi anemia is challenging, and more when you come from a small country, because it means that you have no support group culture. There is no easy way to get good quality information, or sometimes no information at all, about FA and FA research, and a poor health system. That was my experience coming from the Dominican Republic when in 2012 I was facing bone marrow failure as a consequence of FA, the disease that took away my brother years before. This somber picture changed when I was invited to attend my first FA adult meeting and had the privilege to travel to the US for it. My experience with FA completely changed when I found a support group that understood what I was going through. I gained access to useful information and saw the potential of FA research and the benefits of a powerful health system. This sparked an idea. This is how Un Corazon por Fanconi begins, with the idea of bringing didactic information, diagnosis, and support to the FA Spanish-speaking Latin American community. The objective of this work is to describe the strategy used to increase awareness and bring scientific knowledge to FA families from Spanish-speaking Latin America. And to do so, we started with the basics of building a community, engaging with patients, families, physicians, researchers, and a wider public by taking advantage of social media and virtual meeting platforms to spread awareness and share knowledge. Spanish-speaking Latin America is composed of 18 countries. Our community brings together 70 families from 13 of them. We even have a family from Brazil who got in touch with us and stayed as part of our community. Most families currently live in their home countries, but 9 have relocated, 6 of them in the US. As you can see, most of the families are from Mexico, and this is not surprising since there is a formal register. Also, it is worth noting that Argentina and the Dominican Republic have local initiatives that organize the patients. 70 is a large number when counting FA families, but we are far from connecting with all the patients in the region. A very conservative estimate is that there is 1 person with FA per million inhabitants. What you see in this graph is the percentage of persons with FA from each country participating in our group, considering this population frequency. When we see things like this, this way, the picture radically changes. Those 32 patients from Mexico represents only 25% of the minimum expected number of Mexican patients with FA, while the 3 patients from Uruguay are the minimal expected number given their 3 million population. We are for sure missing a lot of patients from the region. Notably, there are 5 countries that are missing in our group: Costa Rica, Panama, Ecuador, Bolivia, and Paraguay. As you can deduct from the previous talk, it is not that there are no people with FA there, just that we have not found each other yet. The lack of support group culture is slowly starting to change for us. The WhatsApp group began in 2020 with only 2 families, and it rapidly grew to include 70. A third of FA families learned about the WhatsApp group from one of their physicians. Another third found us through social media platforms like Instagram or Facebook. And 16% came from mouth to mouth from another FA family. Only 7% of the members of the group got in touch with us via FARF. It is notable that 70% of the members of our group have never been in contact with FARF. And this is not necessarily surprising, since half of the people in our group cannot communicate in English language. Only 10% can have a conversation in English. The language barrier is a real obstacle to access, not only from up-to-date information, but also from belonging to the larger FA community. It is precisely the fact of belonging to a community what many have obtained by participating in the WhatsApp group, a space that has become extremely valuable for all of those involved. This community has little by little moved beyond the virtual zone as other initiatives emerge, like the birthday gift program organized by Janira, one of the moms from our group. So how did we tackle the lack of available information for the people in our group? We took advantage of the pandemic Zoom boom to surmount geographical distances and bring together the Latin America Spanish-speaking FA community for a series of informative talks. For the past 3 years, FA families, physicians, and researchers have gathered to talk about FA, its clinical picture, management options, possible complications, and preventive actions, as well as to learn about what causes FA and to be there for each other and find ways to better cope with emotions. We are lucky to listen to non-Spanish speaking world FA experts whose contributions were translated to Spanish. This is in itself a testament of how kind, supportive, and welcoming the FA community is. When spreading awareness, we also went beyond the virtual world and found ways to impact local medical and research communities. We were able to secure spots for invited oral talks on Fanconi anemia at the International Congress of Hematology, organized by the Dominican Society of Hematology, both in 2019 and 2023. In Argentina, 2 Jornadas de Anemia de Fanconi, a day dedicated to reflect and learn about Fanconi anemia, have been organized by Cecilia Cordova, FA mom, with the help of ALAPA, the Argentina Patient Alliance. And in November 2022, a scientific forum aiming to express knowledge about FA took place in parallel to the first Mexican family reunion. It must be said that all of these local initiatives have benefited from international FARF grants. Social media presence is fundamental to continue to reach a large audience. Although the group is young, there is considerable engagement in different platforms. The most challenging piece of the puzzle, the one where a group like ours has the more limited influence, concerns structural deficiencies of inefficient health systems. These deficiencies hinder access to life-changing treatments like bone marrow transplant or androgen therapy, or even availability to a confirmatory diagnosis, which are precisely part of the main concerns the Spanish-speaking Latin American FA families express. Other important aspects are shortage of FA education and lack of support, both emotional and economic. So, for now, we have to keep significant local actions like blood donation campaigns and fundraising to cover confirmatory diagnosis and androgen treatment costs in the Dominican Republic, or the scanning for danazol availability that occurs among Mexican and Colombian families to try to make sure that everyone can find their medications. And also, through Un Corazon por Fanconi's mediation, referral of families from Latin America to participate in US-based clinical trials. From all of this, I hope I have convinced you that our strategy to increase awareness of FA and promote community building in Spanish-speaking Latin America is a success, and that with the help of communication technologies, obstacles like geographic distances and language can be overcome. The sense of support, family, and gratitude were the words emitted by the participants of our group in response to what our group represents for them. And none of this would be possible without the help of these wonderful people that work passionately and constantly for us to have a better quality of life and better understanding of what Fanconi anemia is.
Congratulations on this fantastic work to you and the whole organization. So are there any questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, Anna, thank you very much for the presentation and for the huge work that you do. So I was really impressed when we met in Mexico, how you went to the pharmacy to buy danazol out of your own pocket to make this drug available for other Fanconi patients. So what would you envision for us as a community? How can we support maybe the Latin America population, especially if bone marrow transplantation is not feasible? We know, for example, that danazol is working, but nevertheless we do not know how it works. So maybe there's an opportunity both for clinical care but also scientific research. So do you have any ideas on that?
Oh, yes. Well, it's very difficult right now because, for example, in the Dominican Republic, you cannot buy danazol, and we have right now 4 patients that are taking danazol, but I need to buy the danazol in Mexico or in Colombia, and it's very difficult to find it. And most of the families in Mexico are also having problems to get the medication, and it's very, very expensive for them. And as well, it's very, very expensive for us. So I'm not sure how we can do it, but because in my country they said that it's just a small amount of patients, so how they cannot approve to bring the medication to the country. So right now it's like we are traveling and looking for who is traveling to the Dominican Republic to buy medication in Mexican, and we are doing fundraising to have the money to do it. I'm not sure what can be the response of that because I don't really know. It's like right now, I just can say that we need to travel to get the medication, so we need money to do it. And it's important to know that in our system, at least in the Dominican Republic, the danazol is working. I've been taking danazol since 2012, and I don't need a bone marrow transplant right now. And the same thing is happening with another kids in the Dominican Republic. So maybe, of course, we need to talk more with all of you to see how you can help us to get the medication and to maybe bring more knowledge about transplant in the Dominican Republic or in our Latin American countries. But it's a response that I'm not totally sure about how we can do it. faster.
So thank you very much. So having in mind that in Bolivia, all the diagnoses have been made due to hematological low counts, this might open the window really for a controlled study to study also the biological effect on danazol. So that would also enable the medication for the patients over there. So let's think about this idea.
Yes, I'm gonna have contact with Beatriz after this. Thank you.
Gracias por su presentación.
Thank you.
I was curious, as somebody who works with families here in the United States, but many of our families are Spanish speaking. And so in addition to connecting them to resources through FARF, some of the Spanish translations, are you looking for people who are in the United States to be, you mentioned a few members are in the US, as long as they're Spanish speaking, can they connect to your organization as well?
Of course, yes. I know for our Latin American culture, have information in their own language. It's very important. They feel more comfortable. So maybe to have our contact and be in our group is going to be very helpful for them. So I don't know if that responds to your questions, but they can always find us in WhatsApp, in Instagram, Facebook, and all of that.
Muchas
Como
gracias.
Un Corazon por Fanconi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. I will be very quick. I remember when we were having the diversity, equity, and inclusion conversations, I remember Lisa Mingo, I don't know if she's here, I remember she was saying, every FA children is our children. So it's great to see you here having this, giving this talk. And now that we're talking a lot about opening borders, being more global, here we have a big group of Fanconi anemia patients from Latin America, and we can learn a lot from them and share that information with the with the whites patients with Fanconi anemia. So this is a great opportunity that we can have with your group to be in contact, the two different groups of patients with Fanconi anemia. Congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful effort and lovely results. I want to address, all along I kept thinking, and I want to address what Tunica just brought up. I think as a community, we just need to apply ourselves better and think smartly in how we can, just an example, yesterday, Picori, this is, you already have made you've engaged the people, you've literally made a second FARF in a smaller scale in Latin America. So when we are designing the studies, the way we can help is you design a study. If it is an intervention study, you design a study and say, we need more patients, and we are going to do this study because they have 70 patients in Latin America at the same time, and get the funding because US will be involved, US patients will be involved, it's easier to get the funding. But what happens is the benefit for for example, Latin America group is that they can get the drug free.
Thank you. Actually, we put in contact more than 9 FA patients to the NIH, to the trial for El Trombopac, and I think like more than 6 patients were having the medication from them. So that is really good for us, but it's difficult for them to have access to the visa, and sometimes it's a problem, but thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Anna.
Thank you.